Good evening, West Coast Nazarenes. Andrew Corby coming here from the Port Alberni Church of the Nazarene for an episode of Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness. I got some catch up work to do, so we are going through day 25 of the 60-day reading plan through the Word, and today picks up in Job chapter 9. So I'd just like to start this evening off with a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for the opportunity again to get into your Word, and I just pray that you help us understand what we read and to learn what you would have us learn each time we read anew from your word. In your name I pray, amen. So without further ado, let's get into the word. We have Job chapter 9. Then Job answered and said, Truly I know it is so, but how can a man be in the right before God? If one wished to contend with him, one could answer him 1 in 1,000 times. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength, who has hardened himself against him and succeeded. Who removes mountains if they do not know it, and who overturns them in his anger? Who shakes the earth out of his place, and its pillars tremble? Who commands the sun, and it does not rise? Who seals up the stars? Who alone stretched out the heavens and trampled on the waves of the seas? Who made the bear and Orion, the Pleiades, the chambers of the south? Who does great things beyond searching out, and marvelous things beyond number? Behold, he passes me, and I see him not. Behold, he moves me, but do I not perceive him? Behold, he snatches away. Who can turn back? Who will say to him, What are you doing? God will not turn back his anger beneath him. Bowed helpers of Rahab, how then can I answer him, choosing my words with him? Though I am in the right, I cannot answer him. I must appeal for mercy to my accuser. If I summoned him and he answered me, I would not believe that he was listening to my voice, for he crushes me with a tempest and multiplies my wounds without cause. He will not let me get my breath, but fills me with bitterness. If it is a contest of strength, behold, he is mighty. If it is a matter of justice, who can summon him? Though I am my right, my own mouth would condemn me. Though I am blameless, he had proved me perverse. I am blameless. I regard myself. I regard not myself. I loathe myself. It is all one. Therefore I say, he destroys both the blameless and the wickedness. When disaster brings sudden death, he mocks with the calamity of the innocent. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covers the faces of judges. If it is not he, who then is it? My days are swifter than a runner. They flee away. They see no good. They go like skips of reeds, like an eagle swooping on his prey. If I say, I forget my complaint, I will put my sad face and be of good cheer. I will become afraid of all my suffering, for I know you will not hold me innocent. I shall be condemned. Why then do I labor in vain if I wash myself with snow and cleanse myself with lye? Yet you plunge me into a pit, and my own clothes will abhor me. For is not a man as I am, that I might answer him, that we might come together to trial? There is no arbiter between us who may lay his hand on both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not dread of him terrify me. Then I would speak of fear with him, for I am not so myself. Job chapter 10. I loathe myself. I will give free utterance to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me. Let me know why you contend against me. Does it seem good to you to oppress and despise the work of your hands and favor the designs of the wicked? Have you eyes of flesh? Do you see as man sees? Are your days as days of man? Are your years as man's years, that you seek out my iniquity and search for my sin, although you do not know? I am not guilty, and therefore none to deliver out of your hand. Your hands fashioned and made me, and now you have destroyed me altogether. Remember that you have made me like clay, and you returned me to the dust. Do you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese? You clothe me with skin and flesh and knit me together with bones and sinews. You have granted me life and steadfast love, and your care has preserved my spirit. Yet these things you hid in your heart. I know that was your purpose. I sin if you watch me, and do not quit me of my iniquity. If I am guilty, woe to me. If I am right, I cannot lift up my head. For I am filled with disgrace, and look at my affliction. And where my head lifted up, you would hunt me like a lion, and work wonders against me. You renew your witness against me, and increase your vexation towards me. You bring fresh troops against me. Why did you bring me out from the womb? Would that I had died before, and I had seen me, and were as though I had not been carried off from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Then cease and leave me alone, that I may find little cheer before I go, and I shall not return to the land of the dark, deep shadow, to the land of the gloom, the thick darkness, like deep shadow without any order, where light is thick as darkness. Job chapter 11. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered and said, should a multitude of words go unanswered, and a man full of talk be judged right? Should your babble silence men, and when you mock shall no one shame you? For you say, my doctrine is pure, and I am clean before God's eyes. But, oh, God would speak and open his lips to you, and that he would tell you the secrets of wisdom. For he is manifold in understanding. Know that God exacts of you less than your guilt deserves. Can you find out the deep things of God? Can you find the limit of the Almighty is higher than heaven? What can you do? Deeper than Sheol, what can you know? Its measure is longer than earth and broader than sea. If it passes through and imprisons and summons the court, who can turn him back? For he knows worthless men when he sees iniquity, will he not consider it? But a stupid man will get understanding when a wild donkey's colt is born a man. If you prepare your heart, you will stretch out your hands towards me. If iniquity is in your hand, put it away, and let not the injustice dwell in your tents. Surely then you will lift up your face without blemish. You will be secure and not fear. You will forget your misery. You will remember it as waters that have passed away, and your life will be brighter than noonday. In darkness will be like morning, and you will feel secure because there is hope. You will look around and take your rest in security. You will lie down, and none will make you afraid. Many will court your favor, but the eyes of the wicked will fail. All the ways to escape will be lost to them, and their hope is to breathe their last. Job chapter 12. Then Job answered and said, no doubt, you are the people, and the wisdom will die with you, but I have an understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these? I am a laughingstock to my friends. I who called to God, and he answered me. A just, blameless man am a laughingstock. In the thought of one who is at ease, there is contempt for misfortune. He is ready for those whose feet slip. The tents of the robbers are at peace, and those who provoke God are secure, who bring their God their hand. But ask the beasts, and they will teach you, the birds of heavens, and they will tell you, of the bushes of the earth, and they will teach you, of the fish of the sea, and they declare to you, who among all these does not know what the hand of the Lord has done? That the hand of the Lord has done this. In his hand is the life of everything, and breath of all mankind. Does not the ear test words as the palate tastes food? Wisdom is with age and understanding, and length of days with God as our wisdom and might. He is counsel and understanding. If he tears down, none can rebuild. If he shuts a man in, none can open. If he withholds waters, they dry up. If he sends them out, they overwhelm the land. With him are strength and sound wisdom. They deceived, or the deceiver are his. He leads the counselors and strips the judges and makes fools. He loosens the bonds of kings and binds a waistcloth on their hips. He leads priests and away stripped and overthrows the mighties. He deprives the speech of those who are trusted and takes away the discernment of the elders. He pours contempt on the princes and loosens the belt of the strong. He uncovers the deep out of the darkness and brings the deep darkness to light. He makes nations great and he destroys them. He enlarges nations and he leads them away. He takes away understanding from the chiefs of people of the earth and makes them wander trackless ways. They grope in dark without light, and he makes them straggler like drunk men. Job chapter 13. Behold, my eye has seen all this, my ear has heard and understand it. What you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you, but I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to argue my case with God. As for you, whitewashed with lies, worthless physicians are you all. Oh, that you would keep silent, and it would be your wisdom. Hear now my argument, and listen to the pleadings of my lips. Will you speak falsely of God and speak deceitfully for him? Will you show partiality towards him? Will you plead the case of God? Will it be well with you when he searches you out, or can you deceive him as one deceives a man? He will surely rebuke you if in secret you show partiality. Will not his majesty terrify you, and the dread of him fall upon you? Your maxims and proverbs are ashes. Your defenses are defenses of clay. Let me have silence, and I will speak, and let me on my way, and let come on me what may. Why should I take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hand? Though slay me, I will hope in him. Yet I will argue my ways to his face. That will be my salvation, that the God godless shall not come before him. Keep listening to my words, and my declaration be in your ears. Behold, I have prepared my case, and I know that I shall be in the right. Who is there who will contend with me? For then I would be silent and must die. Only grant me two things. Then I will not hide myself from your face. Withdraw your hand from me, and let not dread of you terror from me. Then call, and I will answer, or let me speak, or reply to me. How many are my iniquities and my sins? Make me know my transgression and my sin. Why do you hide your face and count me as your enemy? Will you frighten a driven leaf and pursue the dry chaff? For you write bitter things against me and make me inherit the iniquities of my youth. You put my feet in stocks and watch all my paths. You set a limit for the soles of my feet. Man wastes away like a rotten thing, like a garment that is moth-eaten. Job chapter 14. Man who is born of woman is few in days and full of trouble. He comes out like a flower and withers. He flees like the shadow and continues not. And you do not open your eyes on one and bring me into judgment with you. Who can bring a clean thing out of unclean? There is not one. Since his days are determined and the number of the months is with you, and you have appointed his limits and cannot pass, look away from him and leave him alone, that he may enjoy like a hired hand his day. For there is hope for a tree. It will be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its shoots will not cease. Though its roots grow old in the earth and the stump die in the soil, yet the scent of the water will bud and put out branches like a young plant. But a man dies and is laid low. Man breathes his last, and where is he? His waters fail from a lake, and a river wastes away and dries up. So a man lies down and rises not again till the heavens are no more, and he will awake or be roused out of sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in Sheol, that you would conceal me until your wrath be past, that you would appoint me in set time and remember me. If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my service I would wait till my renewal should come. You would call and I would answer you, for you would long for the work of your hands, for then you would number my steps, and you would keep watch over my sin. My transgression would be sealed up in a bag, and you would cover over my iniquity. But the mountain falls and crumbles away, and the rock is removed from place, and the waters wear away the stones, and the torrents wash away the soil of the earth. So you destroy the hope of man. You prevail forever against him as he passes, and you change his countenance and send him away. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. They are brought low, and he perceives it not. He feels only the pain of his body and mourns only for himself. Job chapter 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, should a wise man answer with windy knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he argue the unprofitable talk, or in words with which he cannot do no good? But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God, for your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I. Your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man who was born? Are you brought forth before the hills? Have you listened to the counsel of God, and do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know, what that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us older than your father. Are the comforts of God too small for you, or the word that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away, and why do your eyes flash, that you turn your spirit against God and bring such words out of your mouth? What is man that he can be pure, or he who is born of a woman that he can be righteous? Behold, God puts no trust in holy ones, and the heavens are not pure in his sight. How much less is one who is abominable and corrupt, a man who drinks injustice like water? I will show you, hear me, and what have I said I declare. What wise men have told without hiding it from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days, though all the years are laid up in the ruthless, dreadful sounds are in his ears. At prosperity the destroyer will come upon him. He does not believe he will turn out of darkness, and he is marked for the sword. He wanders abroad, saying, where is it? He knows that the day of darkness is ready. At his hand distress and anguish terrify him. They prevailed against him like a king ready for battle, because he has stretched out his hand against God and defies the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with a thickly bossed shield, because he has covered his face with fat and gathered upon his waist, and has lived in desolate cities, in the houses that none should inhabit, which are ready become heaps of ruins. He will not be rich, his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the earth. He will not depart from darkness. The flame of dry up his shoots, and the breath of his mouth will depart. Let him not trust the emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his payment. He will be paid in full before his time, and his branch will be green, and he will shake off the unripe grape like the vine, and cast off the blossom like the tree. For the company of the godless is barren, and the fire consumes the tents, the bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. Their womb prepares deceit. Job chapter 16. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things, miserable comforters, you all. Shall windy words have an end, or what provokes you that you answer? I also could speak as you do if you were in my place. I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and my soles to my lips would assuage your pain. If I speak, my pain is not assuaged, and if I forbear, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. He has made desolate all my company, and he has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me, and my leanness has risen up against me. It testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My adversary sharpens his eyes against me. Men have gaped at their mouth. gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me instantly on the cheek. They mass themselves against me. God gives me up to the ungodly and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me apart. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare. He pours out all my gall on the ground. He breaks me with breach upon breach. He runs upon me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping, and on my eyelids deep darkness, although there is no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not my blood, and let my cry find no resting place. Even now, behold my witness in heaven, and who testifies for me on high. My friends scored me. My eyes pour out to tears of God, that he would argue the case of man with God, as the Son of Man does with his neighbor. For when few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return. Job chapter 17. My spirit is broken, my days are extinct, the graveyard is ready for me. Surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation. Lay down a pledge for me with you. Who is there who will put up the security for me? Since you have closed their hearts to understanding, therefore you will not let them triumph. Who informs against his friends and gets a share of their property? The eyes of the children will fail. He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am the one before whom men split. My eye has grown dim from vexation, and all my members are like a shadow. The upright are appalled at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the godless, yet the righteous holds his way, and he who is clean hands grow stronger and stronger. But you come on again, all of you, and I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are past, and my plans are broken off. The desires of my heart, they make night into day. The light, they say, is near to darkness. I hope Sheol is my house. If I make my bed in darkness, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, you are my mother or my sister, where then is my hope? Who will see my hope? Will it go down to the bars of Sheol? Shall we descend together to the dust? Job chapter 18. Then Bilhad the Shuhite answered and said, How long will you hunt for words? Consider then, and we will speak. Why are we counted as cattle? Why are we stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in your anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, or the rock be removed out of its place? Indeed, the light of the wicked is put out, and the flame of the fire does not shine, and the light of the dark in his tent, and the lamp above him is not put out. His steps are shortened, and his schemes throw him down, for he is cast into the net by his own feet, and he walks on its mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel, a snare holds him by the heel. A rope is hidden for him in the ground, a trap for him in the path. Terrors frighten him on every side and chase him at his heels. His strength is famished, his calamity is ready for stumbling. If he consumes part of the skin, the firstborn of death consumes his limbs. He is torn from the tent which he has trusted and brought the king of terrors. In his tent dwells that which is none of his, sulfur and scattered over his habitation. His roots dry up beneath, and his branches wither above. His memory perishes from the earth, and he has no name in the streets. He is thrust from the light into the darkness and driven out of the world. He has no posterity or progeny among his people, and no survivor where he used to live. They of the west are appalled at his day, and horror seizes them from the east. Surely such are the dwellings of the unrighteous, such is the place of him who knows not God. Job chapter 19. Then Job said, How long will you torment me and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have cast reproach on me. Are you not ashamed to wrong me? And even if it be true that I have erred, my error remains with myself. If indeed you magnify yourselves against me and make my disgrace an argument against me, know then that God has put me in the wrong and closed his net about me. Behold, I cry out, Violence! But I have not answered. I call for help, but there is no justice. He has walled up my way so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness upon my paths. He has stripped me from glory and taken the crown from my head, and breaks down every side, and I am gone, and hope is he pulled like a tree. He has kindled his wrath against me and counts me as his adversary. His troops come on together. They have cast up their siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. He has put my my brothers far from me, and those who know me are wholly estranged from me. My relatives have failed me, my close friends have forgotten me. The guests in my house and maidservants count me as a stranger. I have become a foreigner in their eyes. I call to my servant, but he gives no answer. I must plead with him for my mouth for mercy. My breath is strange to my wife, and I am a stench to the children of my own mother. Even young children despise me. When I rise, they talk against me, and all my intimate friends abhor me, and those whom I have loved turn against me. My bones stick to my skin and my flesh, and I have escaped their skin and my teeth. Have mercy on me, have mercy on ye, O you, my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Why do you, like God, pursue me? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that my words were inscribed in a book. Oh, that in iron pen and lead they were engraved in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at last he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been thus destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another. My heart faints within me. If you say, how will we pursue him? And the root of the matter is found in him, be afraid of the sword, for the wrath brings the punishment of the sword, that you may know there is judgment. Job chapter 20. Then Sophar the Naamathite answered and said, therefore my thoughts answer me because of my haste within me. I hear censor that insults me, and out of understanding a spirit answers me. Do you not know from old, since man was placed on the earth, that exalting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment? Though his height mount to the heavens, and his head reach for the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? He will fly away like a dream and not be found. He will be chased away like a vision in the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will give back his wealth. His bones are full of youthful vigor, but it will lie down him in the dust. Though evil is sweet to his mouth, though he hides it under his tongue, though he is loth to let it go and holds it in his mouth, yet his food is turned in his stomach. It is the venom of cobras within him. He swallows down the riches and vomits them up again. God casts him out of his belly. He will suck the poison of cobras. The tongue of a viper will kill him. He will not look upon the rivers, the streams flowing with honey and curds. He will not give back the fruit of his toil, and will not swallow it down from the profit of his trading. He will get no enjoyment, for he has crushed and abandoned the poor. He has seized the house that he did not build, because he knew no contentment in his belly. He will not let anything in which he delights escape him. There was nothing left after he had eaten. Therefore his prosperity will not endure. In the fullness of his sufficiency he will be in distress, and the hand of everyone in misery will come against him to fulfill his belly to the full. God will send his burning anger against him and rain it upon his body. He will flee from iron weapon. Bronze arrow will strike him through. It is drawn forth and comes out of his body. The glittering point comes out of his gallbladder. Terror is upon him. Utter darkness is laid before his treasures. A fire not fanned will devour him. What is left in his tent will be consumed. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The possessions of his house will be carried away, dragged off in the day of God's wrath. This is a wicked man's portion from God, the heritage decreed for him by God. Job chapter 21. Then Job answered and said, keep listening to my words, and let this be your comfort. Bear with me, and I will speak, and after I have spoken, mock on. As for me, my complaint is against man. Why should I be impatient? Look at me and be appalled, and lay your hand over your mouth. When I remember, I am dismayed, and shuddering seizes my flesh. Why do the wicked live and reach good old age, and grow mighty in power? Their offspring are established before their presence, and their descendants before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, and no rod of God is upon them. Their bull breeds without fail, their cow calves, and does not miscarry. They send out their little boys like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and the lyre, and they rejoice to the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity and peace, and they go down to Sheol. They say to God, depart from us. We do not desire the knowledge of your ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we get if we pray to him? Behold, it is not their prosperity in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? That their calamity comes upon them, that God distributes pains in his anger, that they are like straw before the wind, and like chaff before the storm carries them away. You say, God stores up their iniquity for their children. Let him pay it out to them, that they may know it. Their own eyes see their destruction, and let them drink the wrath of the Almighty. For who do they care of their houses after them when the number of their months is cut off? Will any teach God knowledge, seeing that the judges those who are high, one who dies in full of vigor, being wholly at ease and secure, and he pails full of milk, and the marrow of his bones moist, another dies in bitterness of soil. And never having tasted of prosperity, they lie down like in the dust, and they are worms and cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and your schemes to wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince? Where is the tent in which the wicked lived? Have you not asked those who travel the roads and do not accept their testimony, that the evil man spared the day with calamity, that he is rescued in the day of wrath? Who declares his way to his face and repays him for what he has done when he is carried to the grave, which is kept over the tomb, the clods of the valley? Sweet to him, all mankind follows before him, and those who go before him are innumerable. How then will you comfort me with empty nothings? There is nothing left for your answers but falsehood. Job chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, can a man be profitable to God? Surely he who is wise and profitable to himself. If it is any pleasure to the Almighty, if you are in the right, or the gain to him, if you make your ways blameless, it is for your fear of him that he reproves you and enters into judgment with you. Is not your evil abundant? There is no end to your iniquities, for you have exceeded pledges of your brothers for nothing, and stripped the naked of their clothing. You have given no water to the weary to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. The man with power possessed the land, and favor lived in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless were crushed. Therefore snares all around you, and sudden terror overwhelms you of darkness, so that you cannot see, and the flood of the waters cover you. Is not God high in the heavens? See the highest stars, how lofty they are. But you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so that he does not see, and does walks on the vaults of heaven. Will you keep to the old way that the wicked men have trod, that they have snatched away before their time? Their foundation was washed away. They said to God, depart from us, and what can the Almighty do to us? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad. They are innocent. And one mocks at them, saying, surely our adversaries are cut off, and what are they left that the fire has consumed? Agree with God and be at peace. Thereby good will come to you. Receive instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. If you remove injustice from your tents, if you lay gold in the dust, and gold and Ophir among the stones of the torrent bed, then the Almighty will be your gold and your precious silver, for then you will delight yourself in the Almighty and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to him, and he will hear you, and he will pay your vows. You will decide on a matter, and it will be established for you, and a light shines in your ways. For when they are humbled, you say, it is because of pride, but he saves the lowly. He delivers even the one who is innocent, who will be delivered through the cleanliness of your hands. Job chapter 23. Then Job answered and said, Today also my complaint is bitter. My hand is heavy on the account of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would lay my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know what he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me in the greatness of his power? No, he would pay attention to me. There is an upright man could argue with him, and I would be acquitted forever by my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I do not perceive him. To the left, my hand when he is working, I do not behold him. He turns to the right, but I do not see him. But he knows that the way I take it. When he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and have not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my portion of food. But he is unchangeable, and who can turn him back? What he desires that he does, for he will complete what he appoints for me, and such things are in his mind. Therefore I am terrified at his presence. When I consider, I am in dread of him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced because of the darkness, nor because the thickness covers my face. Job chapter 24. Why are not times of judgment kept the Almighty, and those who know him never see his days? Some move landmarks, they seize flocks in the pastures, and they drive away the donkeys. The fathers take the widow's ox for a pledge. They thrust the poor off the road. The poor of all the earth hide themselves. Behold, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go out in their toils seeking game. The wasteland yields food for their children. They gather their fodder in the field, and they glean the vineyard of the wicked man. They lie all night without clothing, and they have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the rain of the mountains and cling to the rock for shelter. There are those who snatch the fatherless child from the breast, and they take a pledge against the poor. They go about naked without clothing. Hungry they carry the sheaves among the olive rows of the wicked. They make olive oil, and they tread in the winepress, but suffer thirst from out of the city. The dying groan of the soul, the wounded cries for help, yet God charges no one with wrong. There are those who rebel against the light, who are not acquitted with its ways and do not stay in its paths. The murderer rises before the light, that he may kill the poor and needy. And in the night he is like a thief. The eye of the adulterer also waits for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me. And he veils his face. If they dig in the dark, they dig through the houses, and by day they shut themselves up, for they know not the light. For deep darkness is in the morning to all of them, for they are friends with the terrors of the deep darkness. You say, swift are they on the face of the waters, their portion is cursed in the land. No treader turns their way toward their vineyards. Drought and heat snatch away the snow waters, so does Sheol. Those whom have sinned, the womb forgets them, the worm finds them sweet. They are no longer remembered, so wickedness is broken like a tree. They wrong the barren, childless woman and do good to the widow, yet God prolongs the life of the mighty by his power. They rise up when they despair of life. He gives them security, and they are supported, and his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted a little while, and they are gone. They are brought low and gathered like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. If it is not so, who will prove me a liar and show me there is nothing in what I say? Job chapter 25. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, dominion and fear are with God. He makes peace in high heavens. If there any number to his armies, upon whom his delight does not arise, how then can man be in the right before God? How can he who is born of a woman be pure? Behold, even if the moon is bright and the stars are not pure in his eyes, how much less is a man who is a maggot, and the son of a man whom is a worm? Job chapter 26. Then Job answered and said, how you have helped him who has no power, how you have saved the arm that has no strength, how you have counseled him who has no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge, with whose help you have uttered words, and whose breath have come out of you. The dead tremble under the waters, and their inhabitants. Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no cover. He stretches out over the north, over the void, and hangs upon on the earth on nothing. He binds up the waters in thick clouds, and the cloud is not split under them. He covers the face of the full moon and spreads it over his clouds. He has inscribed a circle on the face of the waters, and the boundary between the light and the darkness. The pillars of the heaven tremble and are astounded by his rebuke. By his power he is stilled by the sea. By his understanding he has shattered Rahab. By his wind and heavens are made fair, and his hand pierced the fleeing serpent. Behold, these are the outskirts of his ways, and how small a whisper do we hear of him. But the thunder of his power, who can understand? Job chapter 27. And Job again took up his discourse and said, as God lives, who has taken away my right, and Almighty, who has made my soul bitter, as long as breath is in me and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils, my lips will not speak falsehood, and my tongue will not utter deceit. Far be it from me to say you are right till I die, and I will not put away my integrity from you. I will hold my righteousness and will not let it go. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days, let my enemy be as the wicked, and let him who rises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off, when God takes away his life? Will God hear his cry when his distress is upon him? Will he take delight in the Almighty? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God what is almighty. I will not conceal. Behold, all of you who have seen it yourselves. When then have you become altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage that oppressors receive from the Almighty. If his children are multiplied, it is for the sword, and his descendants have not enough bread. Those who survive him into the pestilence he buries, and the widows do not weep. Though he heap silver like dust and pile up clothing like clay, he may pile it up, but the righteous will wear it, and the innocent will divide shelter. He builds his house like a moss, like a booth that watchman makes. He goes to bed rich, but will do so no more. He opens the eyes, and his wealth is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood. In the night, the whirlwind carries him off, and the east wind lifts him up, and he is gone. It hurls him without pity. He flees from it, power headlong in flight. It claps its hands at him and hisses at him from its place. Surely there is a mine for silver and a place for gold. They refine iron taken out of the earth and copper smelted from the ore. Man puts an end to the darkness and searches out the farthest limit. The ore in the gloom, deep in darkness, opens like a shaft and travels from anyone who lives. They are forgotten by travelers. They hang in the air away from the mankind, and they swing to and fro. As for the earth, who comes to them bread, but underneath is turned up by fire. Its stones are a place of sapphires, and it has dust of gold. That path no bird of prey knows, and the falcon's eye have not seen it. The proud beasts have not trodden it. The lion has not passed over it. Man puts his hand to the flinty rock and overturns mountains by the roots. He cuts out channels in the rock, and he sees every precious thing. He dams up the streams so that they do not trickle, and the thing is hidden he brings out to light. But where shall wisdom be found, and where is this place of understanding? Man does not know its worth, and if it is found in the land of the living, the deep says, it is not in me, and the sea says, it is not with me. And it cannot be bought for gold, and silver cannot weigh its price. It cannot be valued in gold of Ophir, and precious onyx or sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or crystal. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. For where then does wisdom come? And where is the place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all living and concealed from the birds of the air. Abaddon and Death say, we have heard rumor of it with our ears. God understands the way to it, and he knows its place, for he looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he gave the wind its weight and apportioned the waters by measure, when he made decree for the rain and wave for the lightning of thunder, then he saw it and declared it. He established it and searched it out and said to man, behold, the fear of the Lord, that wisdom, and turn away from, and behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from evil, that is understanding. I will be back in just a brief moment. All right, and I'm back. And we find ourselves in Job chapter 29. And Job again took up his discourse and said, oh, that I were as the months of old, and the days of God watched over me, when his lamp shone upon my head, and by its light I walked through the darkness, and I was in my prime, when the friendship of God was upon my tent, and when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were all around me, and when my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured out from streams of oil. Oh, when I went to the gate of the city, when I prepared to my seat in the square, the young men saw me and withdrew. The aged rose and stood. Then princes refrained from talking and laid their hand upon their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed. And their tongue stuck to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard it, it called me blessed, and when my eye saw it, it approved, because I had delivered to the poor, cried for help, and the fatherless who had none had helped him. The blessing of him who was about to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on the righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame, and the father to the needy, and I searched out the cause of him who did not know. I broke the fangs of the unrighteous and made him drop his prey from his teeth. Then I thought, I shall die in my nest, and I shall multiply my days in the sand, and my roots spread out to the waters. With the dew of the night on my branches, my glory will fill my glory fresh with me, and my bow ever new in my hand. Men listened to me and waited and kept their silence for my counsel. After I spoke, they did not speak again, and when my word dropped upon them, they waited for me as the rain, and they opened their mouths to me as the spring rain, and I smiled on them. And when they had no confidence in the light of my face, they did not cast down. I chose their way and sat among them as their chief, and I lived like a king among his troops, like one who comforts the mourners. Job chapter 30. But now they laugh at me, men who are younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. What could I gain from the strength of their hands, men whose vigor is gone? Though want and hunger, they gnaw by the ground, and by the night, the waste and desolation. They pick saltwort and leaves of bushes and the roots of the broom for their food. They are driven out from human company. They shout after them as a thief. In the gullies and the torrents they must dwell. In the holes of the earth and the rocks, among the bushes they bray, and under the nettles they huddle together. A senseless and nameless brood, they have been whipped out of the land, and now I have become their song. I am a byword to them. They abhor me. They keep me aloof from me. They do not hesitate to spit at the sight of me, because God has loosed my cord and humbled me, and they cast off my restraint in my presence. Oh, on my right hand they rabble rage. They push away my feet. They cast against me their ways of destruction. They break up my path. They promote my calamity. They need no one to help them. As though a wide breach they come. Amid the crash they roll on. Tremors are churned on me, and my honor is pursued by the wind, and my prosperity has backed away like a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me. The days of affliction have taken hold of me. The night racks my bones. The pain that gnaws at me takes no rest. With great force my garment is disfigured. It binds around my collar and tunic. God has cast me into the mire, and I have become like dust and ashes. I cry to you for help, and you do not answer me. I stand, and you only look at me. You have turned cruel to me. With the might of your hand you persecute me. You lift upon me the wind and make it ride upon me, and yet you toss around the roar of the storm. For I know that you will bring me to death, and the house appointed for all living. Yet does not one in a heap of a ruin stretch out his hands, and in disaster cry for help? Did not I weep for him whose day was hard? Was not my soul grieved for the greedy? But when I hoped for the good, evil came, and when I waited for light, darkness came. My inward parts in turmoil, never still. Days of affliction come to meet me. I go about darkened, but not by the sun. I stand up in the assembly for cry for help. I am a brother of jackals and a companion of ostriches. My skin turns black from me, and my bones burn with heat. My lyre is turned to mourning, and my pipe to the voice of those who weep. Job chapter 31. I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a virgin? What would be my portion from God above, and the heritage from my portion of God above, and my heritage from the Almighty on God and high? Is not calamity for the unrighteous and disaster for the workers of iniquity? Does he not see my ways and number all my steps? If I have walked with falsehood and my foot has hastened to deceit, let me be weighed as just balance, and let God know my integrity. If my step has turned aside from the way, and my heart has gone after my eyes, and if a spot is struck to my hands, let me sow, and another eat, and let what grows for me be rooted out. If my heart has been enticed towards a woman, and I have lain at the weight of my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind for another, and let others bow down on her. For that would be a heinous crime. That would be iniquity to be punished by the judges. For that would be a fire that consumes as far as Abaddon, and it would burn the root of all my increase. If I have rejected the cause of my manservant or my maidservant when they brought a complaint up against me, when then shall I go when God rises up against me? When he makes inquiry, what shall I answer him? Did not he who made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld anything that the poor desired, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten any of my morsel alone, and the fatherless has not eaten of it, for from my youth the fatherless grew up with me as with a father, and from my mother's womb I guided the widow. If I have seen anyone perish for lack of clothing, or the needy without covering, if his body has not blessed me, and if it was not warm with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless because I saw my help in the gate, then let my shoulder blade fall from my shoulder, and let my arm be broken from its socket, for I was in terror of calamity from God, and I could not have faced his majesty. If I made my gold trust, or called fine gold my confidence, if I have rejoiced because my wealth was abundant, or because my hand had found much, if I have looked at the sun when it shone or the moon moving in splendor, and my heart has been secretly enticed, and my mouth has kissed my hand, this also would be iniquity to be punished by the judges, for I would have been false to God above. If I have rejoiced in the ruin of him who hated me, or exalted the evil overtook him, I have not let my mouth sin by asking for his life with a curse. If the men of my tent have not said, who is there that has not been filled with his meat? The sojourner has not lodged in the street. I have opened my doors to the traveler. If I have concealed my transgressions as others do by hiding my iniquity in my heart, because I stood in great fear of the multitude, and the contempt of the families terrified me, so that I kept silence and did not go out of doors. Oh, that I had one to hear me. Here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. Oh, that I had the indictment written by my adversary. Surely I would carry it on my shoulder. I would bind it on me as a crown. I would give him an account of my steps. Like a prince, I would approach him. If my land has cried out against me, and furrows have wept together, if I have eaten its yield without payment, and made its owners breathe their last, let thorns grow instead of wheat, and foul weeds instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. Job chapter 32. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then Elihu, son of Barachel, the Brizite of the family of Ram, burned with anger. He burned with anger at Job because he justified himself rather than God. He burned with anger at Job's three friends because they had found no answer, although they had declared Job to be wrong. Now Elihu had waited to speak to Job because they were older than he, and Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these men, and he burned with anger. And Elihu, the son of Barachel the Brizite, answered and said, I am young in years, and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak, and many years teach wisdom. But it is the spirit of man, the breath of the Almighty, that makes them understand. It is not the old who are wise, nor the aged, nor understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me. Let me also declare my opinion. Behold, I waited for your words. I listened to your wise sayings while you searched out what to say. I gave you my attention, and behold, there was none among you who refuted Job, or who answered his words. Beware lest you say, we have found wisdom. God may vanquish him, not a man. He has not directed his words against me, and I will not answer him with your speeches. They are dismayed. They answer no more. They have not a word to say. And shall I wait because they do not speak, because they stand there and answer no more? I also will answer with my share. I also will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. The spirit within me constrains me. Behold, my belly is like wine that no vent, like new wineskins, ready to burst. I must speak that I may find my relief. I must open my lips and answer. I will not show partiality to any man, or use flattery towards any person, for I do not know how to flatter, else my Maker would soon take me away. Job chapter 33. But now, hear my speech, O Job, and listen to all my words. Behold, I open my mouth, the tongue of my mouth speaks. My words declare the uprightness of my heart, and my lips know they speak sincerely. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. Answer me if you can. Set your words in order before me, and take your stand. Behold, I am toward God as you are. I too was pinched off from a piece of clay. Behold, no fear of me need terrify you. My pressure will not be heavy upon you. Surely you have spoken in my ears, and I have heard the sound of your words. You say, I am pure without transgression. I am clean. There is no iniquity in me. Behold, he finds occasions against me. He counts me as his enemy, and he puts my feet in the stocks and watches all my paths. Behold, that in this you are not right. I will answer you, for God is greater than man. Why do you contend against him, saying he will answer none of man's words? For God speaks in one way, and in two, though a man does not perceive it, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon the man, when they slumber in their beds, and when he opens the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings, that it may turn aside from the deed and conceal his soul from the pit, this life from perishing by the sword. Man is also rebuked with the pain on his bed, and his continual strife in his bones, so that his life low spread, and his appetite the choicest food. His flesh is so wasted that he cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out. His soul draws near the pit, and his life to those who bring death. If there be for him an angel, a mediator, one of 1,000, to declare to man what is right for him, and if he is merciful to say to him and says, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. Let his flesh become fresh with youth. Let him return to the days of his youthful vigor. Then a man who prays to God and accepts him, he sees his face and shouts for joy, and he restores the man to righteousness. He sings before man and says, I sinned and perverted what was right, and it was not repaid to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down to the pit, and my life shall look upon the light. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with a man to bring him back for the soul from the pit, that he may be lighted with the light of life. Pay attention, O Job, listen to me, be silent, and I will speak. If you have any words, answer me, speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Job chapter 34. Hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear tests the words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am right, and God has taken away my right. In spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What is a man like Job, who drinks up scoffing like water, who travels in the company of evildoers and walks with wicked men? For he has said, it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. Therefore hear me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should do no wrong. For according to the work of man he will repay him, and according with his ways he will make it fall before him. Of a truth God will not do wickedly, and the Almighty will not pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth, and who laid on him the whole world? If he should set his heart into it and gather to himself his spirit and breath, all flesh would perish together, and man would return to dust. If you have understanding and hear this and listen to what I say, shall one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who is righteous and mighty? Who says to a king, worthless one, and to the nobles, wicked man? Who shows no partiality to princes, nor regards the rich more than the poor, for they are the work of the hands, and the moment they die. At midnight the people are shaken and pass away, and the mighty are taken away by no human hand. For his eyes are on the ways of man, and sees all his steps. There is no gloom and deep darkness where evildoers may hide themselves. For God has no need to consider man further, that he should go before God in judgment. He shatters the mighty without investigation, and sets others in their place. Thus, knowing the works, he overturns them at night, and they are crushed. He strikes them from their wickedness in a place for deceit, because they turned aside from following him, and he had no regard from any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of poor man to come to him. And he heard the cry of the afflicted. When he is quiet, who can condemn? When he hides his face, who can behold him? whether it be a nation or a man, that a godless man should not reign, that he would not ensnare the people? For has anyone said to God, I have borne punishment, I will not offend any more? Teach me what I do not see. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more. Will he then make repayment suit you because you reject it? For you must choose and not I. Therefore declare what you know. Men of understanding will say to me, and the wise man will say, Job speaks without knowledge, his words are without insight. Would that Job were tried to the end, because he answers like a wicked man, and his rebellion to his sin. He claps his hands among us and multiplies his words against God. Well, that has been day 25's reading of our 60-day journey through the Word. Stay tuned soon for more. Good night and God bless.